सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om. In the last session we had seen the recap of the first two chapters. The first chapter, the main theme was even the best amongst the best can break down in some situations, and the importance of spiritual knowledge in such a situation, and also seeking advice from the right source and following up on that advice. This is Arjuna's skill or his quality, you say. Not only he is hearing from Bhagavan Krishna, but he is intensely putting forth an effort to internalize that knowledge. And how do you know that? Based on the questions that he asks. Imagine what is going on. Everything is started in terms of the armies wanting to fight against each other. And his questions are, Bhagavan, this mind is very turbulent. How should I calm this mind down? Is Saguna Upasaka better or Nirguna Upasaka better? Means that is his ability to hold on to a topic, to listen and try to internalize. Second chapter, the main theme was wise people don't grieve for too long. Wise people are not down for too long because they have some knowledge. What is that knowledge was elaborated in second chapter. Now third chapter, a quick overview of what third chapter covered. In second chapter, Bhagavan praised Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, he said, Arjuna, this is such a great knowledge that you will be able to be efficient in the world, do your duties, yet not get bound by them. That is the greatness of Karma Yoga. And then finally he told Arjuna, the goal of your life has to be something which is different from an object in this world. That pure consciousness has to be your goal. Strive only for that thing. And that goal you will attain only through knowledge, not through karma. Now Arjuna is confused. He says, Bhagavan, you praised Karma Yoga. You said that is the only thing I should be doing and so on. But you said that will not give you your absolute goal of life. That goal of life will come only through knowledge, and you have to leave all your things you have taken up upon yourself, all identities you have to drop, and only when you do that, understand this knowledge clearly, you will attain that supreme truth. Because it is not an object to be gained, it is you yourself. Right? What is already me, I don't need an action to gain that. One Mahatma Ji would say, how much time does it take for you to switch from a citizen to a man? How much time it takes to switch some different roles which we already are, right? From a mother to a human being. You see, you don't have to do anything, you just have to know. So in the same way, Bhagavan points out both these things. First he says, Karma Yoga is the supreme, praises Karma Yoga, and then he says, Arjuna, have a goal which is not some object of this world. Nistre Gunyo Bhavarjuna. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. This whole world is made up of objects which is falling under three gunas. And those three gunas cannot be the goal of your life. Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. And for that, Bhagawan praises Jnana Yoga. So third chapter begins with a question by Arjuna. Arjuna says, Bhagawan, your words are as though confusing me. On one hand you praised karma, another hand you praised knowledge. Conclusively tell me what is good for me. Conclusively tell me what I should do right now and what will bring me good in the long run. I want Shreya in my life. It is not that I am not interested in this knowledge or anything. I am ready to put forth effort. You tell me. Bhagavan Krishna is a master. Whenever he is asked a question, he will not answer directly. Actually, there is a reason even there. Because Bhagavan says, I will lay out the facts in front of you. You think about it and get the right message. Otherwise, if you just look at it very literally, right? All questions Arjuna is asking, one line answer is sufficient. You say, what should I do? Fight the war. Okay, I will go and fight. Should I do karma or should I do jnana yoga? Do karma yoga. Right? Answers are very straightforward, but Bhagavan doesn't do that. He takes a step back and paints the bigger picture. So third chapter begins by saying that there is a secret of living a fulfilling life. And that secret is the secret of karma yoga. He says all of us want two things in life. One is called as abhyudaya, second is called as nishreyasa. Abhyudaya means prosperity in life at all fronts. Sometimes what happens is prosperity comes but at the cost of something. Prosperity is there, but at mind level there is lot of agitation. Prosperity is there, but at physical body level it has taken a hit. So abhyudaya means, abhi means from all sides. Udaya means prosperity. So that action of ours which will bring prosperity at all fronts. Puja Guruji puts it very beautifully. He says, that which will bring prosperity but not at the cost of purity. Prosperity is there, purity is also there, and values are also there. So that is abhyudaya. Bhagavan says karma yoga is the art of bringing that in our life. At the same time, it will lead us to nishreyasa. Nishreyasa means a desire comes in the seeker that there is something higher I should seek in my life. Objects by themselves have not given me what I have asked, and I want something deeper in life. Now that desire cannot be instilled. That desire cannot be forced upon. A sincere quest for seeking something higher, our scriptures say that is a result of living a dharmic life. Desire for absolute truth, it cannot be forced upon. It is born as a result of living a good, ethical, dharmic life. And both are important. If we have abhyudaya, but it does not lead us to nishreyasa, then our shastras say it has not fulfilled its purpose. It is much better than living a life which has no clue of higher truth, unethical life. Compared to that, living an ethical life, dharmic life, it is much better. But what is the final culmination of that? It should lead me to my next goal, which is my main goal, that is nishreyasa. Nishreyasa in simple words, seeking abidance in our own self. Independent of all limitations, seeking abidance in that Atma. What great Mahatmas accomplished, somebody like Puja Gurudev, Raman Maharshi Ji, Swami Vivekanand Ji. Their abhyudaya part was taken care by Bhagavan only. But Nishreyasa was self-abidance. And sometimes what happens, Abhyudaya becomes an obstacle for Nishreyasa. If Abhyudaya is there, it can keep us sufficiently busy that Nishreyasa doesn't even come to our mind. When Mahatmaji would give an example, there was a Sethji. Sethji means, a merchant in a village. He had something to accomplish in the neighboring village. So he said, I cannot go, I will send my assistant. And because this merchant had a good name, when this assistant went to the neighboring village, they welcomed him. Very nicely they welcomed. It was evening time, he had gone. So they said, take some rest. We'll start our work later, take some rest. All lavish food was made. He said, why don't you eat first? After eating, they said, we have arranged a special program for you. The local village folks who are there, they'll come and present something. He said, tomorrow morning anyway we have whole day, right? Let us do it tomorrow. So like this, next day comes, morning also they have something, afternoon also they have something, evening it is time for him to go. He comes back and says, what happened? The merchant's assistant, he comes back to the merchant and says, the merchant asks him, what happened there? Did you accomplish the work? He said, no. Why? Were facilities not good? Were you having a difficult time adjusting that? He says, no, everything was there. It was very lavish. All entertainment was there, food was good, everything was good. That itself became an obstacle. It kept him so busy that his main goal was lost. So that Mahatmaji would say, our story is like that. In the pursuit of Abhyudaya, one should not get so caught up that they miss the main boat. Main goal is Nishreyasa. Abhyudaya should lead me towards Nishreyasa. Both words are clear, right? Abhyudaya means prosperity at all fronts. Mind level, body level, emotion level. All of that is well taken care of. At the same time, outer prosperity is also there. That is Abhyudaya. And that Abhyudaya leads to Nishreyasa. So Bhagawan says, Karma Yoga, if somebody has done well, their life will be like this. Abhyudaya will take them to Nishreyasa. So then Bhagawan starts off with a very practical advice to Arjuna. He says, Arjuna, remember one thing. Out of fear of failure, out of fear of rejection, out of whatever fear you might have, if you don't start something, that is not going to solve your problem. Out of some fear, if you don't start any work, thinking that if I start it, I will get bound by it, that is not going to do any good for us. At the same time, once you have started something and you meet some obstacle or you feel there is lot of difficulties which are coming in the way, if you drop something halfway, that also is not good. Both extremes, Bhagavan says, we cannot do it. Because these karmas are such, they will come back in some way or the other. Karma phala, results of action. If you have to go through something, no matter how much you avoid it, you will often meet that thing somewhere else. When you are working, there are some things which are your forte. You really like to do something. But then there are other things which you really don't want to do. At least I have seen in my life, whatever I have avoided, the same thing has landed some other time. Like my forte was not into coding. Okay, mechanical background, you do your other things. Just it would not click. But whichever job I landed up, first thing is that. Wherever you avoid, same thing comes. Bhagavan says one thing, karma is something, it's a great tool. It can accomplish anything for us as long as we know how to use it. One option which is not there is staying away or dropping things halfway or not starting out of fear. So that is one thing Bhagavan says. Then he says, there is a small catch here. What happens sometimes is, we have desire in our heart, but at the same time, we don't want to acknowledge it or put forth effort to fulfill it. So he says, one who has desire, but is not working to fulfill that desire, he says that person is a mithyachari. Mithyachari means a hypocrite. Meaning he had the ability to fulfill the desire, and in such a way that he can grow out of that desire. So he says, if it is inside and outside I don't fulfill it, then that desire will become more and more bothering later. So he says, Karma Yoga is a beautiful way where you can fulfill the desire, at the same time grow out of it. That is the art. Bhagwan's grace is that. If you take Bhagwan's help to accomplish things and fulfill things, he will give vairagya through that thing. He will give vairagya means he will give a healthy perspective to that desire which is fulfilled, and that will push us further. So he says, don't leave it in between, don't just drop it in between. I'm not quoting the verses, but I hope these ideas what we had discussed, all of them are falling in place. I'm just recapping them. Then Bhagwan says, what is the secret of productivity? If we have to work in this world, we have to work with people. So he says, there is one frame of mind that a person can keep. That way, wherever we are happy even amidst differences. Nowhere in Bhagavad Geeta, Bhagawan says, I promise an ideal world. What he says, if my drishti can change, if our vision can change, no matter how many imperfections are there, this person can still survive. Not only survive, he can thrive. So he says, what is the secret of productivity? Bhagavan says that sadhaka, who is able to keep one goal and work towards that goal by sinking individual differences. That is the way of keeping a group together. And he says, like this, when minds are tuned, that tuned mind, that group of tuned minds can accomplish any goal. And we saw several examples of how that is possible. Bhagavan gives example of this creation. He said, look at every element of this creation, it is only serving. Without accepting or expecting anything back, they are just serving. If you want a more closer glimpse of this, look at how our festivals are celebrated. Whichever festival is there in your region. For example, Ganesh Chaturthi, right? Traditionally, when it is celebrated, Bhagwan is brought as the altar. And all relatives, family members, everybody comes together. And each person has a role. Right? Somebody will be taking care of cooking, somebody will be taking care of decoration, somebody doing something else. And not that there are no differences. Everything is there, but at least for those few days, differences are kept aside and one common goal is worshipped. He says, if somebody is able to accomplish that, then the result which comes from such a group, Bhagavan says that is Amrutam. That is something, that group will be like Kalpataru, whatever they want they can accomplish. So tuning minds and most importantly, effort from our side. Right? Because Karma Yoga, we cannot expect others to do. Right? So he says, you do it from your side, rest of it I will take care of. Then Bhagavan went into Loka Sangraha. Next topic was Loka Sangraha. Setting the right example, Bhagavan says to inspire somebody. Teaching, preaching, that is a very small portion. Major portion comes from living. So Bhagavan says, Karma Yoga, I am teaching you so that if you practice it, that will be an inspiration for all your subjects in the kingdom. Lokasangra topic, that was the main point, that everybody is a leader to somebody else. And what cannot be taught through preaching or teaching, is a lot of it is caught through observing. And any value for that matter, if we have been inspired to live it, it is only through observing. Not because you have read somewhere or you have been told to be this way. Okay? So that was one topic of Loka Sangraha. Then our Arjuna asks a question, Bhagawan, why are we pushed into doing something that we don't want? Then Bhagawan says, Arjuna, this is your Kama and Krodha. Sometimes I have entertained a sankalpa, giving over importance to something. And this thought that if I get this thing, everything will be fine, or there is joy in this object. That kamana which is there, desire which is there, it will keep pushing me later, even if I don't want. And krodha, which is anger, which comes when kama is obstructed. He says that is another thing which will make this mind stronger and stronger. In a difficult way. Because when I want this mind to do something, it will not do it. Okay, with that Bhagavan concluded 3rd chapter. Now comes 4th chapter, which is a very beautiful chapter which has different ideas. Bhagavan will talk about the lineage of this knowledge. He will talk about different types of devotees who are there. Sakama Bhakta, Nishkama Bhakta. He will talk about Varna Vyavastha. Very sensitive topic, that's why I'm not translating it. When we see that, we will look at the details of it. Varna Vyavastha. Later he will talk about, in our day-to-day life, how can we do yajna? We don't do yajna with fire anymore every day, right? So what are the contemporary ways of doing yajna? That he will talk about. And last portion he will talk about how to surrender to a teacher and learn. Guru Upasatti, that part will come. So let us see the first verse, we can start with that. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Manurikshvakave Bravit Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarashayo Viduhu Sakale Neha Mahata Yogo Nashtah Parantapa. Now Bhagavan, in some places, he starts without a question also. So now Arjuna is not asking anything. But Bhagavan says, Arjuna, you are very dear to me. I will tell you few more things now. He says, Imam Vivasvate Yogam. This knowledge which I just told you in the 1st and 2nd chapter and 3rd chapter, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, I taught this knowledge to Lord Sun. Imam Vivasvate Avyayam Yogam Aham Proktavan. This yoga which is Avyaya. Avyaya means that which never perishes. But Bhagavan Shankaracharya clarifies. The word Avyaya here refers to the topic of that yoga. Because later Bhagavan is going to say, this yoga got lost in time. He says, if it is Avyaya, how did it get lost? One of our Swamiji would say, Atal ji to tal gaye. His name is Atal, but his government fell down, It should not contradict your name. So once you say Avyaya Yoga, later on you say that yoga got lost. So you say Avyaya doesn't mean to that yoga. Avyaya means what is indicated by that yoga, that is Avyaya. Avyaya is that consciousness which never gets lost. So that is this Avyaya Yoga. I taught it to Lord Sun. Vivaswan Manave Praha. Vivaswan, Lord Sun taught it to his son, Manu Bhagawan. Manurikshvakam Abravit. Manu Bhagawan taught it to his son, Ikshvaku, and this lineage of knowledge continued. Then what happened? He says, Evam Parampara Praptam. This knowledge which has been gained through Parampara, starting from Lord Sun, I gave it to Lord Sun, and it continued until now. Imam Rajarshayo Viduhu. All of this knowledge was known by Rajarishis. Rajarishi means he is Raja but lives like a Rishi. Raja outside, Rishi inside. That is this Rajarishi. All of them had this knowledge. And they are the people whom Arjuna looked up to. You see Bhagawan's way of giving example. He is not giving example of Vasishtha Rishi. He says your own lineage people whom you are so proud of, whom you look up to, they had this knowledge. Imam Rajarshayo Viduhu. That is what it is with many of us, right? Sometimes. If this knowledge or whatever we value, we come to know that some famous person whom we revere, that person is doing it, then we start valuing that thing even more. Somebody was telling me, meditation, all these cricketers, in the stressful time they meditate. And one high schooler was telling me, even Will Smith meditates, it seems. If you say, I also meditate, so what? you meditate. But if somebody else whom you look up to, they meditate, then they will say, it is more valuable, that knowledge. So Bhagavan is giving example of Raja Rishis. And what was Arjuna's thinking? He thinks either you can be Raja or you can be Rishi. That is his confusion, right? He says to Bhagavan, either we should fight this war, means we will let go of all our other things, we will incur a lot of other calamities. Or I want to go and live as a Rishi, it is better to beg for food than to fight this war. And Bhagavan wants to tell him, look at all these people, they were Rajas, and staying as Raja, they became Rishis. Imam Rajarshayo Viduhu, Sakale Neha Mahata, Yogo Nashtaf Parantapa. But what happened is, in due course of time, this yoga which was there, that got lost. In time, this great knowledge which was there, even Karma Yoga knowledge, forget about Jnana Yoga, as people became more and more Rajasic, as they became more and more extrovert, value for this knowledge went down. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji points out two reasons why this thing was lost. But you don't have to apply this only for spiritual knowledge. You ask those people who are into classical forms of art. You will appreciate this line more. Sakale neha mahata yogo nashtaf parantapa. Whichever that art form is, the purity and the tradition which was there 2-3 decades ago, if some people are not committing their life to it and making others appreciate the value of that thing, in few generations, nobody is there to learn, nobody is there to teach. Why? Because there are so many restrictions. So many other things are there, very rigid way of learning. So he says it is hard to maintain pure traditions. And also it has to be adapted with time, without letting go of the authenticity. Gurudev would say this is the greatness of Sanatan Dharma. Have you heard that talk? Bhagavatam introduction, he is talking about how our rishis packaged all of this knowledge into stories without letting go of the authenticity of it. They presented the same knowledge in the form of stories. He says you have to adapt and yield with time. He gives example of bark of a tree. How the tree grows, he says the external bark also grows. If it wants to be just like it is before, then it's very difficult. It will either break or it will not serve the purpose. But very careful, without letting go of authenticity. Because in the name of adapting, you can lose the main roots to such an extent that you cannot trace it only. Right? So Bhagavan Shankaracharya gives two reasons. One, he says, Sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Why did this great knowledge get lost? One is, people became extrovert. Ajitendriya. Ajitendriya means, mind is getting drawn by outer world so much that it doesn't have even a chance to think about spiritual knowledge. Ajitendriya means that. Means at some point, if we don't keep ourselves in tune with scriptures, in tune with sadhana, all of this looks like, why are we doing it? Most importantly, not seeing the result of this knowledge in their life, not giving sufficient time for it to open up. So Bhagavan says that is the first thing, ajitendriya. And we also see, when mind is disturbed, mind is agitated, somebody talks Vedanta, it looks, very off. It looks very irrelevant at that point. Goswamiji says, Mamata Rata Sama Jnana Kahani. When the mind is too attached or extrovert, Vedanta looks like a fairy tale. Mamata Rata Sama Jnana Kahani. Jnana looks like a fairy tale, something they are saying, some Brahma is there, you should strive to attain that Brahma and do Karma Yoga. He said this was the first difficulty which came, ajitendriya. That is why this knowledge got lost. Then Bhagavan says the second one is durbalan. Means their inner strength became less and less. They could be easily convinced by material world. Look at Bhagavan Shankaracharya's analysis. Only 2 words he has written. Why did this knowledge get lost? One is ajitendriya. Second is people became weak from within. Very easy to convince about material world. Something they see, something they hear. Quickly they would lose shraddha in this. And also, we have different type of strengths, right? One is physical strength. Another is mental strength. There is third strength called as spiritual strength. If you have to sit here for 1 hour, you would have already realized how much of spiritual strength you need. Right? Mind keeps flying off different directions to bring it back and put it here. It's very commendable. You can congratulate yourself for that spiritual strength. But if you see, in general, right, that strength is reducing. Previously, when they had Jnana Yajnas, it would be 7-day Jnana Yajna, 1.5 hour. 1.5 hour, and not including any of singing or bhajan, that is before. 1.5 hour. Now that came to 1 hour. Pandemic time, that came to half an hour. Now people feel 10 minutes, that short, what do they call it? Capsules. 10 minutes you tell the main essence. Don't do the Vistara part. I want the gist of it. Gist and all is not there. Our ability to grasp is going down. This is just society level. We don't have to take it personally or anything. Just in general, this reverence is going down. But what is strange? Previously, what was the duration of news? Half an hour, right? In that they would cover the whole thing. Now that is 24/7. You see how elaborately they will explain one simple thing, bicycle fell. Only that much, 1.5 hours they will tell the story behind it, how it fell, who is responsible, what happened, everything is there. But that just shows wherever there is a demand, there will be supply. If there are seekers for that kind of news, people are ready to supply that. So now you tell me, who is responsible? The supplier or the demand side? That is what Bhagawan is saying here. Don't blame anybody else. The seekers for this knowledge, they reduced. If seekers are there, Bhagawan finds a way of reaching that knowledge to the seekers. Sakale neha mahata yogo nashtah parantapa. Goswamiji has written in Ramcharitmanas. Kali Yuga, this is the way he says. It comes when, I think it comes later, in Uttarkanda it comes. In Uttarkanda, when Kali Yuga description is there, he writes, Kalimala grase dharma sabha lupta bhaye sadgrantha. In Kali Yuga, what will happen is, all sadgranthas which are there, they will get covered. Why? Dambhina nijamati kalpikari pragati kiye bahupanta. Because the people who were explaining those granthas, they were not careful. Because they had some other motive, and with that, they conveniently hid all these sources and presented it as their own intellectual conviction. And with that, as many minds, so many paths. Pragati kiye bahupantha means that. Whatever one person said, that became one pantha. Second person, it became another. Third person. And they was thoroughly confused which one to follow, which one is right. All this is explanation of Sakale neha mahata yogo nashtah parantapa. Why did this knowledge get lost? Because the demand was less. People were ajitendriya, durbala, and also people who were responsible for teaching, they were also not careful. Goswamiji says in Ramcharitmanas, the Manasarovar lake which is there, the best protectors of that lake are the ones who will sing Bhagwan's glory very, very carefully. Means if there is some scope of misunderstanding, they will put forth effort to clarify that. So it should not continue further. So all of that is part of this. But now, the first verse, right? Bhagawan is talking about Vamsha Parampara. Where it started, whom it came to, then where did it come. Why is it important? Why do we need to know about this lineage of teaching? One is to get this authenticity that this is a time-tested solution. Not something that it is being tried upon us the first time. Like medicine also we ask, right? Has this been given before? Has this worked before, or is it the first one that you are trying? He said this solution is also like that. It has come from Bhagawan, Sun God, and all other great rishis were following it. That is one reason for Vamsha Parampara. Another is, he says, because it is passed over generation after generation, it needs some kind of surrender. Means it is not something you will get if you don't have that surrender unto this scripture. Because everyone who studied, they will be inspired to pass it on only if they believe in it. Think about it. We don't share anything with somebody else, or we don't put forth effort to share something unless we ourselves have benefited from it. This is parampara knowledge. So they are not just sharing it for the sake of sharing. They have lived it, benefited from it, and now it has come to you. See if you can take it. Okay, this is Vamsha Parampara. And of course, he is making a point to indicate only Raja Rishis. Like Janak Maharaj, who lived amidst all luxuries, but lived like a rishi. Raja Rishi. And most importantly, there are several ways Mahatmas have thought about this verse. They say the first person whom this knowledge was taught was whom did Bhagawan say here? Lord Sun. So Sun, they say, is the first person who heard Karma Yoga and even till today lives his life like a Karma Yogi. And they go on elaborating. You see Bhagawan's Sun, what is his first quality? No day off. Doesn't matter which day it is, he doesn't say today I don't want to rise. And when he is doing his work, least concerned whether people are looking at him, people are acknowledging that he has come. Whatever he has to do, he does and moves on. These are all Karma Yoga Siddhanta. Whatever he has to do, he is doing and he moves on. But his presence is such, when he is there, many others find shelter in his presence. Right? It is said, our circadian rhythms also are based upon the sun. Right? That's why healthy lifestyle, they say, eat before sunset, wake up before sunset, do your prayers wake up before sunrise. Wake up before sunrise, do your prayers before sunrise, and at least acknowledge sun's presence. Whatever we do as tarpanam, right? In Sandhya Vandanam we do, or even traditionally you have the habit of, you have the practice of taking water to Mother Tulsi and praying to Sun God. Means it's an acknowledgement that Bhagawan, without you, none of us can get whatever we are getting. Either in form of crops, rain, everything that is controlled is Sun God only. But he does his work silently, without anybody coming to know. If he just decides to come a little closer to us, out of love, all of us will melt. And if he is angry and steps one step back, we'll freeze. Now another one I heard from a Mahatma Ji. These are all their mananam, okay? Very beautiful. He said, even when sun is not there, he still cares about the world and takes care of it through moon. Moon doesn't have its own light, right? Sun rays only are giving it to the earth. These are all Karma Yoga Siddhanta, that this person is so committed to that work, even if he is not there, he will make sure that things are still taken care of through somebody else. Now it's not easy to do it in true essence, right? Because so many things mind plays, so many different emotions are there, likes and dislikes are there. To live like Lord Sun, he says it's not easy. But he says, Arjuna, your ancestors are like this. Vivaswan, to whom I gave this knowledge, he was a Karma Yogi. And Sun God is also teacher of Hanumanji. You know that story, right? Hanumanji goes to study from Lord Sun. And he says, I will go in reverse. I will look, because teacher and student cannot go in the same direction. He says, teacher has to face the student. So Hanumanji folds his hand and goes in the opposite direction. Sun's chariot is going like this. Hanumanji is going, listening to all the teachings from Lord Sun. So Jnana and Karma Yoga, both of it is there in Lord Sun. So this is the lineage, Vamsha Parampara of this knowledge. Now Bhagavan says, this same knowledge I am giving you. See third verse now. Sa evayam maya tedya yoga proktah puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. Unless something is pointed out as great, our reverence for that thing the importance that we give to that thing does not manifest fully. This is why stuti is done. Stuti means praise. Now, many a times you wonder, why are they praising all the time? You are so great, you are so wonderful. You see, that is the power of stuti. Whenever you hear it in that way, our importance for that thing increases and our reverence for that thing increases. Means you want to know that thing more. For example, if I make a statement, I have never seen a person as good as this person. Now, what is the curiosity that should come in your mind? So, why do you say that? What is so great about that person? What did he do? So, like this, Bhagawan is praising this knowledge now. He says, Sa evayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratana. This great knowledge which was given to Vivaswan, all the great kings in your own lineage, that same knowledge I am going to give you now. Maya te adya puratana prokta. Whatever I had spoken at that time, this I am going to give you right now. Bhagavan, why are you giving me? He says, Arjuna, you are a Bhakta. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. You see, this title generally devotee brings for himself, or devotee thinks about himself. He says, who are you? He says, I am a devotee. Arjuna is of a different caliber. Bhagavan calls him a Bhakta. So who is the Bhakta? Bhakta is the one who is ready to serve. Bhakta is the one who is ready to learn. Two qualities. Arjuna, when he comes to Bhagavan, he says, Bhagavan, I am confused, no doubt. I am having lot of things in my mind going on. But one thing I know is, whatever you say, I will do. I will try to understand, and I have surrendered myself unto you. The last statement by Arjuna is that, Karishye vachanam tava. That Bhagavan, although there is no injunction, once somebody has realized that absolute truth, there is no need for that person to do anything. He says, I will do what you want me to do. Karishye vachanam tava. So Bhagavan says, you are a Bhakta. You are surrendered, you are ready to serve, and also ready to learn. Even these qualities, they are very hard for this mind to develop. Because mind by itself feels, I already know. What is it that Bhagavan is going to tell? And even if it hears, it will hear only the convenient part. There is a filter in this mind. It will hear only that part which it wants to hear. Means what? Before studying Vedanta, it came with one mindset. After studying Vedanta, whatever it had before, it got validity from Vedanta. And then it goes away. Either it is for Vairagya, or it is for goal of life. Whatever those topics are, this is Bhakta is the one who is ready to shape his convictions according to Shastra. And that is our unfoldment, actually speaking. Even our response to the world, we might have one idea, right? How we should be responding in a given situation. Now when you read 12th chapter, Bhagavan has his own perspectives. He says, devotee is the person who does not agitate the world. Devotee is the person who does not get agitated by the world. Now only that sadhana if somebody practices, he says that life will be transformed. Right? Let my response be such that it doesn't agitate the world, and let our perspective be such that we don't get agitated by the world. So Bhakta is the one who tries to live that. Another way is to say, in today's world, these things are all impractical. Unless you put your foot down, things don't work. One Mahatmaji would say, our whole spiritual journey is an experiment. Whatever things are said in Shastra, take it one by one and try to experiment in our own life. So that is Bhakta, and he says not only Bhakta, you are my Sakha. Bhagawan is telling her, and it is said only Bhagawan should say that. When a devotee starts, with Bhagawan there should be Dasya Bhava. Because when Sakha Bhava comes, there is no learning possible. This point Arjuna tells later. Even though later on in Bhagavad Geeta he only says, Bhagavan, please forgive me, I considered you as my Sakha. In Bhagavatam, the initial portion, Arjuna comes to Yudhishthira, does pranams, and his feet is wet. And Yudhishthira wonders, I have never seen Arjuna crying. And he gives a list of reasons why somebody's teja can go away. Means the glow on the face, how it can go down. He says, did you insult a good person? Did you do something adharmic? Did you do this? Did you do that? Everything he writes down. And then he says, Arjuna is somebody who can never do any of this. Then finally asks, did Bhagavan take away his avatara? And then he says, Bhagavan, I took him for granted. Yudhishthira, he tells Yudhishthira, oh brother, I took Bhagavan for granted. He was there all the time and I thought he was my Sakha. I would tease him and say that you are telling me to live dharma. But what about you? You take so many actions which are, all adharmic, and you are telling me to live dharma. Like this I would talk to Bhagavan. He says, Vanchitoham Mahabhagaha. Means I have been cheated by Maya. Arjuna says that. But the main point here is, Sakha Bhava becomes an obstacle to learning. But Dasya Bhava from devotee's side, Bhagavan says, Sakha Bhava is from my side. That is the sweet confluence of both of them. So Bhagavan says, because you are my Bhakta and you are my Sakha, I am giving you this teaching. Bhaktosi me Sakha cheti rahasyam hyetad uttamam. And Arjuna, we all know, right? He had a choice between army and Bhagavan Krishna. And he chose Bhagavan over his entire army. And he says, because of that, rahasyam, I am going to tell you. What is rahasyam? A secret, but something that you cannot know on your own. That is the secret. Spiritual secret is something you cannot figure it out on your own. It's a long, futile effort. Long, no doubt, but they say it is futile also. Why is it futile? Because this truth is something which is not an object. Right? If it's an object, our intellect is very well capable. No matter which secret it is, you will go and find it out in a matter of time. But if it is not seen, it is a seer. And it is so subtle that there are several ways of misunderstanding it. He says that rahasya cannot be figured out on our own. Says Arjuna, don't worry, I got it all. I will tell you systematically, I will teach you all of that. That rahasya, you listen now. Now Arjuna suddenly feels, Bhagavan, you are going on and on and on, which is good. I believe in you, I have Shraddha in you. But other people might feel like you are bluffing. He says, why? What happened? Did I say something wrong? He says, Bhagavan, we celebrated our birthdays at a relative gap. Although it is said Arjuna was 85-year-old when Mahabharata war was going on. He says, Bhagavan, you might be a couple of decades older than me. Means you were recently born in Vasudevji's house. You were born in Vasudevji's house. And when was son got born? Not few years ago. He has been there from a long time. So how come you were born recently, you grew up like Gopala, did all your leelas, I saw you grow up. How did you give this teaching to Lord's son? How did that come about? There is some kind of inconsistency in what you are saying. So Bhagawan is going to answer that. Arjuna is going to sweetly ask a question. How to ask a question also you understand from Arjuna only. Very beautiful. We'll see in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.